Hello, dear friends. Welcome to our studies of the Spiritist Magazine. Here, live with you on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome. It's always an honor to be with you. Every week, together, we discuss and reflect upon the teachings that are published in different articles of the Spiritist Magazine. And today, we are going to see an article by the Spirit Dias da Cruz through the medium and Andrei Moreira. Let's make sure we correct this. We are live, and sometimes we need to correct Andrei Moreira, who is a physician in Brazil. And this article is from a book called Pills of Trust, which you can acquire from the website of the Spiritist Society of Virginia. I'll make sure it's down the post, the SSVA link. If you'd like to have this beautiful inspirational book for your own studies and reflection at home. And today, thank you for joining me on this journey of learning and service. As we are called towards gratitude and we are called towards service. As you're going to see as I show you the article, today is an invitation for you and I to think about all of the things we have. Where do they come from? Who made them? The impact they have in our lives? And how you and I can do our part in order to be part of this society, fulfilling the law of society as the spirits bring us in the Spirit's book. Before we go there, I would like to invite you to visit the Spiritist Magazine website. If you went to the URL spiritistmagazine.org, this first screen you would see the homepage of the Spiritist Magazine. On this homepage, you're going to find a link to download the PDF of the Spiritist Magazine. That's usually what I use for my own studies and to prepare this for you. I'm usually reading from there as well. There will be an About Us, talking about the founders and the work of the Spiritist Magazine. There is a contact form. If you have any questions, comments, if you would like to be part of this beautiful enterprise of spreading the good news of our Master Jesus, please reach out to us. We're always listening and hearing from you. We love doing that and seeing what your ideas are. You also here on the right upper corner, you can find the link to download the app for the Spiritist Magazine. If you look at the app, you would be able to have your app not only on your tablets, but also on your cell phones, because those are little machines that you and I have on our pockets each and every day. You can find different issues of the Spiritist Magazine, and once you choose the one you want, which today is issue 39. Let me go to issue 39, 33, which is this one. You would download. It says downloading. Once it says show, it will open it for you, and you'll be able to scroll down for the different pages. You can find whichever article you want to read. We have these machines with us pretty much all the time. Why not use the teachings we have here to nourish our souls? Very easy, free of charge. The work that we do here is 100% volunteer based, from the editor to the graphic designers, the authors, the copy editors, and myself. We're all doing this here volunteer based. Beautiful teachings. And today, this call of service comes from this article titled, Do Your Part. Are you doing your part? Am I doing my part? When I say you, I'm not accusatory. I'm just including myself on the same questions, these reflections that come from the studies that we are doing here, the teachings we put together are a reflection for all of us. One more thing about the Spiritist Magazine site, in case people get it. If you go here and you click on, if you click, there's also a Spiritist Magazine Facebook page. And if you go to the link here, buy now, in the right left corner, you'll be able to get to the partner Mag Cloud, where you can order the Spiritist Magazine, physical copy of the magazine. Excellent quality. This one is the one that I have at home for it demonstration for you. Beautiful quality. There is really nothing, no cutting corners here. This is a spirit conduct for parents who does not need some help as a parent, right? So here we are today talking about doing our part. Let's see what this spirit, Dias da Cruz, is going to tell us. The Spirit Dias da Cruz will say, distance yourself from the need of being special. And when we say that, we are going to emphasize to you that you are unique. You are unique in creation. God created you with a very specific mission to fulfill in the universe. However, being unique is different from being special. He's saying no one, these are the words of Dias da Cruz, no one is placed within the world as distinguished agents of service, cooperation, and support without an inner context of needs and personal potential, which supply life with a useful expression. So when you and I return to this world, or even when we are in the spiritual realm, we are put here in this world with needs and with potentials. Those needs that you and I have may be fulfilled by the potential that others have that you are unable to do yourself. He's going to give very specific example of needs that you and I have that are fulfilled by the work of others. Yet you and I have personal potentials that allow us to serve and provide for others. So there are needs that we need to fulfill, and there are potentials that you and I, infinite potentiality, that each and every incarnation we develop those abilities, those talents, those tendencies, and then we can serve and cooperate with the betterment of all around us. Isn't that beautiful? The recognition that yet we are unique, yet we are co-creators with God and with Jesus in a lesser plane, but there is this potential that needs to be used for service. The potential is not only for it to be used for satisfying our needs without giving back, because as you're going to see during the rest of the article, we are receiving so much more from others that allows our lives to be very, very comfortable. For example, I have not created the computer in front of me. I have not created the internet, all of the lights and cameras that allow me to connect with you. However, I am able to be here with you using my potentialities to hopefully serve and help today a little bit more. That's all we can help for. Yet, I couldn't do this by myself. Someone else had to come, use their skills in engineering and science and technology to allow us to connect and be together. So we are choosing to use our potentialities towards the good by nourishing our souls being together tonight. Isn't that quite a little ear tug? However, the spirits are really kind, and he's going to give us very specific examples where we are going to be grateful for what we have, that we are not alone, we cannot do everything on our own. Yet, we have this potential to serve one another, a call to service. He says, learn to look at life with gratitude and praise each of your steps, your hands, and your efforts that allow you to progress and work, which is a necessity of life. Isn't that true that you and I are here on the earth, and blessed be the hands that allow us to do things and actualize ideas in the world? Blessed is our throat and our vocal cords and our brain and our legs and our arms and every single piece of this blessed instrument that allow us to co-create in this life, that allow us to go about, develop our abilities, have a job, have a volunteer work, teach at the Spiritist Center, prepare lectures for children, go serve the needs of those who are homeless, who are in need of help, for example, and many, many other potentialities that the world needs. So let's learn to look at everything that you and I have with gratitude. God allow us to be here in the place we find ourselves, with the physical body that we need to learn. So each and every potentiality needs to be seen as a grateful opportunity of service. Even when we are not allowed to have our hands, our steps, our legs, and our physical body in perfect working condition, it's still an opportunity for service and learning. And Dias da Cruz will say, food which sustains your body proceeds from the efforts involved in sowing, planting, gathering, and then preparing and transporting until the food can reach you as a source of just and saintly nourishment. Have you thought about it? When we go to the grocery store and we mask up and we do our hand hygiene, the food is there. And we're a little bit disconnected from the source. But when you go to the grocery store and you park at the parking lot, say a prayer of gratitude for those who put it all together, from the ones who built the building that is there from its foundation up, the electricity that is supplied, and the instruments that are inside, and the people who stock the shelves, all the way to the farmers who produce the food that reached you. We wouldn't be able to nourish ourselves, and we may be able to nourish ourselves if you're gardening in your backyard, if you have the space and the time and the resources to do it. However, a lot of what we have, including the food that serves as a source of just and saintly nourishment, comes from the effort of many, many, many different lives. The clothing that adorns you, protecting your body from weather and the elements, was produced and made ready through the multiple efforts of those who manufactured the material and those who fabricated the product. We may be able to sew some things that you and I use. However, we may not have grown the cotton, for example, produced the polyester that was made into fabric that was transported to the store, and then we went there and bought it. We didn't make the thread. We are not necessarily producing the electricity that powers the sewing machine. So we have a lot to be thankful for as well when we buy a piece of clothing. So we also have the responsibility and the opportunity to appreciate that every time you purchase something, be it food for nourishment or clothing and other things we're going to see later, what is the impact of the item in the earthly system as a whole? We have in 2021, when this is first airing, you may be watching this later on demand. Because when we do those things, Not only our actions be stored in a perispirit, and we can remember it in our next lives, but also this is recorded. So other generations will be able to find this content and use it closer to when the planet is in regeneration, right? So let's think about every single thing that you and I have an impact. And it's time for us to see ourselves as part of this ecosystem. And when we multiply our impact by 7 billion, it can be much bigger than just us buying one piece of clothing or a piece of nourishment as food. So it's time for us to be responsible. Yes, it is difficult to listen to this, but Spiritism is a lived experience. It is a reasoned faith. So when this kind of teachings come to us, it's for a reason that the good spirits were allowed to speak through the mediums, and that we are allowed to have this kind of revelations, if you will. It's not just for us to know, but it's for you and I, more than knowing, applying the teachings to our daily lives. Gratitude, call to service, and awakening of our conscience towards the impact that we have on the overall life on the earth. Houses which shelter and protect you not only not are not only handy spaces which were provided for you to restore yourself, but are also the result of planning and work from the many who prepared and built them inadequate shelters for human life. This may be a little bit closer to us. As we go around, we can see the houses being built. We need architects and engineers to plan. We need the homeowners to dream up the house. Well, someone needed to plant the trees. Someone needed to produce the concrete. Others have to produce the wires and the walls, so on and so forth. So when you and I have those spaces, when we are actually blessed to have a home, because there are a lot of people out there who do not have homes. Have you thought about it? So we are so blessed to have the opportunity to have the kind of homes we have. And we can only imagine if the earth is a copy of the spiritual realm, if during the night we could go and take courses on spiritual realm engineering and architecture and planning, what kind of knowledge we could bring back and build beautiful constructions that are in harmony with the environment that is with us, together with us. They can be harmonious with the environment and all of the other creatures that make up the entire planet Earth. And we can only imagine what it is on the superior, higher sphere, higher colonies associated with the Earth, what kind of buildings and dwellings they have. Actually, we can see it. There are a couple of articles in the Spiritist Magazine that describe the dwellings in Jupiter. So if you read the Spiritist Magazine by Allan Kardec, there's actually one article from the Spiritist Magazine that is an interview with Mozart. And after I'm done here, before this gets done, I will post the link to that Spiritist Magazine with the interview with Mozart, where he describes the kind of life he lives in Jupiter. I just read it this morning in preparation to have this conversation with you. What else does Dias da Cruz says? He says, if you're served food, have clothes, and a house, remember that therein lies the effort of many lives who are part of our society, contributing and producing that which today allows you to have what is necessary for your own work. Yes, friends, there is merit in acquiring things, having degrees, making it in life from nothing. There is merit in working hard to reach a certain point in life, but none of us is alone in this journey. From the people who build the road so you could get to school in the morning, for the people who built the school buses, from the teachers who taught the teachers who taught you, from the people who build the school building, from the people in that neighborhood who volunteered at the school, all the way to the grocery store when you just go in there and you pick what you need and walk out. We are given so much that is necessary for you and I to exist. Therefore, we need to be grateful and mindful of those works. And this has been made very clear to us during the pandemic, where we were not even aware of certain sectors of society. But imagine if you go to work or to school today and there's no janitors and you need to use the restroom. And tissue paper is falling, it's piling up. There's no towels to dry your hand with, nobody refilled the soap dish. Have you thought about it? Or if we went to the grocery store and all the workers decide not to appear and the shelves are empty. Or if we went to the hospitals and the overworked nurses, therapists, and physicians who were there working day and night, and one of us had a stroke or heart attack and decided not to show up because they were tired, because people weren't heeding the health authorities and they were burned out. Maybe something we never thought about before, all those essential things that you and I take for granted. When you pick up the phone and call 911 and the firemen are there volunteering, they come to your house and help you. Yes, it is tough. And yes, it may not be popular to talk about it, but we have to. It's about time that we are awakened to being an immortal being, living a physical existence around 7 billion plus other beings, plus all the spirits who are accompanying us in our journey on the earth, where we are mindful of our impact, that we receive so much more from everybody that came before us. And that include our spiritist centers and religious institutions as well. When we go somewhere and the building's already there, the lectures are laid out, the services are laid out, someone worked decades to get that working. And when we go to a newer spiritist center where those things are not yet established, and we look down and say, "Oh, but so-and-so's place has all of these things," instead of criticizing, we should volunteer to be the one who does those things. So that when we go to somewhere in some place, there is a lot that is given to us so that we can do our work. So everything lies in the efforts of many lives. That includes you. You are doing something today that makes the work and the life of others better. If we are being moral and ethical with our work, we are producing something to society that doesn't harm, but actually helps with progress. He says, therefore, praise the dedication of those who offer you their fruits and give their humble and anonymous contributions as a link in the universal chain of life. Universal chain of life, we're linked to one another, whether we realize it or not. If nothing, by the current of thoughts that we have. So if we have thoughts of gratitude for all of those who are doing works that now, thank God, we don't need, one day we may be linked to them. From the janitors in the hospital all the way to the CEO that takes care of everything, you may not even be aware of the system unless you need to go to the hospital and you expect them to be there. So we're taking them for granted. So that's why we need to be thankful not only in our words, but also in our actions, by being mindful that whatever you do impacts everybody else, because there's a universal chain of life. It says their contributions allow you to make good use of available resources so that you may do what is expected of you. Remember the title, Do Your Part? Thereby providing an opportunity for those who come along tomorrow with the necessary resources to continue this infinite cycle of growth and progress. The anonymous and humble contributions of all in this linked chain, this universal chain of life, allows you to make use of the resources that you have. And make no mistake, God put you in the universe, created you, and has been loving you since the time of your creation. So your contributions, humble and anonymous, are important. Be they little, be they great. And every single useful activity is work, the law of work, the law of labor, in the Spirit's book, third part. So we're not talking about the value we give to people's work and contributions on the planetary measurements of success. That's not what I'm talking about, although that's important. However, we still value things that may not be helpful to everybody. I'm talking in the grand scheme of life. Even if you are at home taking care of a loved one who is sick, or if you're taking care of children, or if you are a homemaker, a volunteer, you're fostering people, you're taking, doesn't matter. Humble and anonymous contribution is a universal chain of life. You have been put here with something to do, to improve the overall life of others and to contribute positively to the planetary transition and the progress of humanity as a whole. If you go to the book Genesis and read about divine providence is God's care for all creature. Your Father, Mother God, who created you, is caring for all of us, created us, is caring for all of us. And in that chapter, the title God, the spirits tell Kardec that divine providence is abundant in its resources. God is emanating resources. And as we progress on a scale, the evolutionary scale as a spirit, we are able to tap into the resources more and more. So the superior spirits you see, for example, in the books of Andrei Louise and Emmanuel, who are guiding the spiritual aid missions of Andrei Louise, where he participates and learns, can tap more into the divine providence resource than you and I who are incarnated on the earth, because they're guiding the aid missions and we're the ones receiving aid. And then you can multiply that by infinite potentiality and talk about Christ spirits who are actually using divine providence resources to create the earth that you and I live with almost 5 billion years ago. So we are all linked together. So we have the resources that you need. So the contributions that you and I receive on a daily basis, including the ones we're not even considered that we're receiving in a daily basis, the spiritual help we receive, God sending someone to help us and help us, support our hearts and minds, allow us to make good use of the resources that are at your disposal, so that you can do what's expected of you. So we have the resources, but it's not about just taking the resources. It's about you do your part, I will do my part. I'll do my part and provide the services that I can with the abilities and talents I've developed throughout many thousands of different lives in this lifetime, so that you can do what you are here to do. As one piece of this universal link, as a chain, right? The pieces of the chain. We all interconnected. So from the gratitude for everything that we take for granted, that we're more aware of now, when we have food, thousands of people contributed to that food being part of your table. Clothing, the house that we live in, the places of work, the light, the camera, the internet. Thousands of people have to dig and bring me the fiber optics that allow me to be here with you tonight. And so on at your own home. So from being grateful and mindful of that, the spirits are calling us to serve as well. They do their part, we do our part. And that's what you can control, how much you use the resources available to you, if you are doing what you're expected to do on this lifetime. So when you provide what you're expected to, those who come along tomorrow will have the resources to do what they're supposed to be doing with this infinite cycle of growth and progress. So let's think this through in a greater plane. So if today we're called to serve on the earth during the planetary transition, guess what? One day we're going to discarnate. Breaking news, right? News flash here. We're going to discarnate. What if what you build today, many, many years later, when you're allowed to be present, return to the earth, then you might be able to even benefit from the same thing that you created today. If it is for the good, or it may harm you if it is for the not good. And then your children can benefit from the things you created for society, their children, your grandchildren, and who knows, maybe one day you will be the beneficiary of all that you were supposed to do here today. And maybe we are today benefiting from things that we built for the benefit of all for many lifetimes ago. So it's a cycle. It's this infinite chain of life, universal chain of life. Isn't that beautiful, dear friends? It's really a call for gratitude. It's a call for you and I to be together, thinking about how we impact one another and how much work goes behind the scenes for us to be allowed to be here together. And this is the book, Pills of Trust, by the Spirit Dias da Cruz, through the mediumship of Andrei Moreira. This is chapter 6. If you'd like to acquire this book for your studies, you're going to visit ssvirginia.org/pills-of-trust. So this link will be in the description for this program. So you can directly go in there and purchase your book. Isn't that wonderful? So I am very honored. I'm always honored and blessed to be with you. We're always learning together. Don't forget to visit spiritistmagazine.org, download your app, order the physical copy of the magazine. Use the articles inside the magazine for you to study at home with your family and friends and family members, or alone if they don't. If they're not spiritists, you're always in the company of spirits. Your guardian angel and spirit guide, mentor is always available to be by your side. Therefore, please make use of those teachings so we can all nourish our souls and be a part of the progress of all of humanity. And until I can see you next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I wish you a blessed week of many blessings, gratitude, and opportunities of service.